What is going on, my people? We have a very powerful workshop that we're going to take you through right now. Both me and my incredible wife, Teresa, we're going to take you through a confidence bootcamp workshop. Here's the thing. You know that confidence is important, right? I mean, you wouldn't even click on a video if that wasn't the case. But what I've seen is how confidence can show up in certain areas of your life, and you don't even realize it's a lack of confidence. I've seen this happen as a police officer. I mean, literally, when you lack confidence, you can actually put yourself into a situation where you're in more danger. I've seen it with businesses. People don't step out. People don't ask for the sale. People don't stand up and point their flag in the ground to really show people that they are a leader, right? And then when it comes to even with your family, when it comes to lack of confidence, when you're, trying to find your significant other, or you're trying to get your kids to do things, confidence plays such a key, it's such a key part of all of those aspects of your life. And when you lack confidence, you don't even realize it, but you very quickly talk yourself out of doing the things that could make a huge deal for you. Stepping up, being the leader that people need, especially when things aren't going perfectly well, which I'm sure today it won't go perfectly well because we're going to try something brand spanking new here. So Teresa and I are going to walk you through a recent presentation that I did on confidence. Now, I did this, just so you know, I did this for criminal justice professionals. There was thousands of people that were here, that were watching this video, watched the replay, did all that stuff. And I got to tell you that so many people think that criminal justice professionals like police officers, judges, district attorneys, probation, parole, corrections, like jailers, all of them struggle with having a lack of confidence. Not all of them, but the people who showed up were like, listen, we are really struggling with confidence. So I want to let you know that even some people that we consider like superheroes struggle with confidence. And that's why we wanted to tackle this today. That's why I wanted to share this presentation with you, because I shared those mini clips from that actual presentation, because it's actually a paid presentation that I did. And so the company that asked me to do that didn't allow me to share it. So I said, you know what, I'm going to bring my A game here. I'm going to bring it with my amazing wife, Teresa, who's incredible when it comes to confidence. I remember the first confidence, what was that thing called the Courageous Confidence Club or something like that, right? Wasn't it like Chalene Johnson? What was it?
Oh, the one that I did?
Yeah, you remember that? What was the name of that one?
So yeah,
that was awesome.
That was it.
And by the way, I'm checking over here real quick. There's a couple people who are here from our team. We got Shelly. What's going on, Shelly? And Trisha and Elizabeth. Man, Trisha and Elizabeth, you guys are like handcuffed to each other. I love that. That's a power team right there. That's a power team. Okay, guys. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna click the share button. This is the first time I've literally ever shared this, and see if it's going to work. Is it working? All right, let me click the play button. Teresa, can you see it?
I can see it on my screen.
Okay. All right. Let me see if it's actually going to show up on YouTube before we actually get started. So what we're going to talk about today, guys, is how to master your self-confidence. I do see it. It's just like a little mini thing, but that's okay. It's going to work, all right? So we're going to talk about how to master your self-confidence. Lesson for leaders who want to make a huge impact. And here's the thing. I know that you want to make a huge impact. I know that you want to have confidence so that you can help other people achieve the maximum results that they could possibly get. And in order to do that, we have to really lean in to this idea of generating self-confidence. Now, we're going to talk about the difference between the two. We're going to break it all down, and we're going to give you a very important piece of the puzzle. Now, there are a few other pieces, and I'll talk about this at the end, a way to fill in another one of these gaps. But if you do not have this first piece that we're going to be talking about here today, you're going to be handcuffed, no pun intended, when it comes to you going out, stepping out, being the leader that you actually can be and making the biggest impact in the world, all right? It all starts with you. So what we're going to do is I want to hear from you guys inside of the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, what level of self-confidence do you have? When we just get started here, I want you to check in. On a scale of 1 to 10, what level of self-confidence do you have? This is important. It's going to be necessary for you to see how to make the biggest impact by the end of this call. So participate, either 0 to 3, 4 to 5, 6 to 9, or 10. If you're a 10, also share your phone number in the chat, because I want to get on with you, because I want you to help me raise me up to a level 10. All right, Teresa, what would you say yours is?
I would say between 6 and 9.
Okay, I love it. That's where I usually will put myself to, and there's a lot of people who will fluctuate between all of these, but I definitely want to hear. So Trisha is a 7. I love it, love it, love it. So I want to hear what level of self confidence do you have? Now, here's the thing. I usually do this during all my presentations, and it's like you're going to get a ton of great information here. Like literally, people paid like lots of money to get this actual presentation, and you're getting it for free on YouTube, which could kind of seem like maybe like because it's free, it's not really that valuable, and you can go back and you can watch it later. But I got to promise you that this stuff is life changing. I've already gotten messages back from people who've learned this who are like, this changed the game for me. All right. And here's the thing, you're not going to have to take every single piece of information I'm going to share with you. It's probably just going to be one piece of information that will literally be something you can inject into everything you're doing, and it can give you some massive self-confidence. But I don't want you to miss it. I don't want you to be distracted doing your email, watching some other video, maybe doing some other training. I want you to, as much as possible, remove and silence and like do all that stuff. I know some of you guys have young kids and that's not 100% possible, but do it as much as you possibly can to give yourself the best ability to capture some of this stuff. Both Teresa and I have a podcast. She doesn't talk as fast as me. I talk super fast, and it's for good reason. I'm like, I really want to get you as much value as you possibly can in the shortest amount of time. I mean, that's literally what I do inside of my Ideal Leader Blueprint. All the teachings and trainings is like, I try to put as much in because I really value your time and energy, but I want you to get results. And that's what we're going to get for you guys here today. All right. So does this sound like you? You're unsure how to generate the confidence you need to step up into the leadership role you know you were meant for. Or maybe you have no idea how others show up confidently when they are nervous. Like maybe you see people giving presentations. Maybe you see people doing like something that you want to do, right? Maybe you see your leader, or maybe you see a business owner, or maybe you see like a parent like stepping up, and you're like, well, how do they do that? How do they generate the confidence in order to, get themselves to show up and not be nervous? Or maybe you think confidence is either something you have or you don't have. Maybe you think it's like, well, if you're born with it or you're not. And if you're not born with it, well, it's just the nature of the beast. So you shouldn't do anything where you have to be on video or you have to be leading. Like, no, I guess I'm not set out for this, right? Well, if any of those are the case, I want to let you know that they are all false news, all right? All of those things are incorrect, but I want to let you know that if you feel that way, that you're on the right, I almost said webinar, you're on the right live YouTube video, okay? Because here's the thing, that's what we're going to tackle today, because all of those things I thought were true. I thought they were 1000% true. Like you were either born confident or you weren't. Like somebody had the secret sauce to get up there to be like the leader they needed to be, to like use specific words to get people motivated and excited, inspired. Guys, all of this stuff that I teach on this channel, these are all skills and all mindset that you can 100% develop if you're willing to lean in. And that's what we're going to do today. Okay. So what you're going to learn is what is self-confidence, because I know I talk to a lot of people and they don't really slow down enough to actually identify what that means, how self-confidence works, and why your brain is trying to work against you when it comes to self-confidence. And lastly, how to take control of your self-confidence. I'm going to give you some tactics, strategies, some things that you can literally write out and start doing and implementing in your day, and it will definitely help boost your confidence, all right? So how our story started. Teresa, do you want to take this over?
Yeah. I mean, that's my favorite part, right? Because it shows our progress and everything. So we've known each other for 21 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. And, we both actually suffered from, being self-conscious. And a lot of it for me had to do with just the way I was. I just felt like I was, self-conscious, and I had low self-esteem, and, don't really know why. It just was something that I felt like it was just me, right? But I soon found out that I could work on my confidence. Just like Mark said, it's not something that you're just born with. You're not born with confidence. You develop it. And anybody can develop confidence. So a lot of the things that I started to do in order to improve my confidence was working on myself, working on, things that I could do, because I didn't want to feel unhealthy. I didn't want to have a lack of confidence. I didn't want to be full of anxiety or feeling like I was worthless. I wanted to feel good about myself. So I started to work on that. And Mark did the same.
Is that me? Are you kicking it back to me?
Go for it.
All right. She left out a bunch of key parts of her story because she wants to be short and concise. But she literally now is a powerful mompreneur who actually teaches other mompreneurs how to gain clarity and have focus within their business, but also when it comes to like impacting their family on a level that is, you can succeed at all of it, not putting one on the back burner or not feeling like you're not enough. And a lot of that, what she talks about is confidence. And like, it's pretty crazy. Like, I'm looking at these pictures who are on there, and I remember these two people more than I remember the people that are actually like here right now, because it was at this moment that we had made a decision like, hey, we were going to do something different. We didn't know what that different was at the time. And this was like quite a long way from where we are today. And you can kind of see that, like, of course, we were more unhealthy than we are now, but there was a lot of other things, right? Like she talked about, I had no energy. I was very negative. It's crazy because people are like, what do you mean negative? Like, you're now like this speaker who was written a book, who gives presentations, who inspires people, who's so full of energy. And I was the exact opposite, because none of the things that I'm going to teach you guys here today did I even know existed. I thought it was just something, like I said, you were born with it or not. And the reason why I wanted to share this with you is because from these pictures turned in, like you could see, or I could see the transformation that this person, me, has made from this plight of having no energy, being 100 pounds overweight, being negative, not being a leader. I was the opposite of a leader. I would undermined leaders because I just was like leading with that negative energy, to now turn it around to be a police officer, just retired from LAPD from 20 years, making it up to the level of Sergeant 2, creating a multi-six-figure coaching business, co-creating a life coach certification school, trying to focus on being a better father and a better parent, and now giving speeches in front of thousands and thousands of people. I could tell you that everything that we're going to talk about is a skill that you can develop. And the reason why we wanted to stay here on this screen is because so many people see where people are right now. And they tend to think that because they're looking at everybody's behind the scenes, fake behind the scenes stuff on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or anything, they start to compare themselves and start to think, well, like, this isn't possible for me because I'm not wired like that. Guys, everybody has a starting point. Everybody has that moment when they decide, this is ground zero for me. This is my day where I will forever change it, right? We call it rock bottom. But rock bottom, like you'll learn in a little bit, is literally a story that you can tell yourself, and you can make a decision that today is rock bottom and tomorrow is up. And that's the decision you make. And when you make that decision and you believe it, you will go out there and create all the actions that you need to take in the world, all right? So we wanted to put this up here because we wanted you guys to hear our stories and let you know that no matter where you are right now, it is 100% possible for you too, all right?
One thing, before you move on, one thing I want to say is we put up these visuals because they're something that you can like see, like they're tangible, right? They're like, oh, they went from this to this. However, the transformation happened internally, right? Everything, like our self-confidence came from the work that we did internally, not necessarily the work that we did externally. So our confidence didn't come from us losing weight. It didn't come from us looking better or whatever. It came from the work that we did from the before through the after. All the little things that we did, all the habits that we changed day and day and day after day. So, it's not about like, what you see on the outside. It's really the work that is happening on the inside.
I love that. I love that. And like our mentor, Josh Coach, says, your outward success is a reflection of your inner growth. Now, we have a lot of coaches who are on here, life coaches, a lot of health coaches follow me. And I want you to like think about this in terms of your health and fitness as well. When you first get started with your health and fitness, the outside doesn't change first. You always have to focus on the inside, right? You start eating healthier. You start, drinking more water. You start exercising. You start getting more movement. You start doing those things, hanging around with other people that are also wanting to get after it when it comes to their health, right? And by doing that, the inside starts to change and the outside doesn't in the beginning. Like when I say I lost 100 pounds, it wasn't like, oh, I flipped a switch. I did P90X one day and then I was there. No, it was like the day after day after day. And then I looked up and I'm like, what in the world happened? I like to think of it as like a seed that you plant, right? When you plant the seed, you give it enough water, you give it sunlight, it has really fertile ground, right? It doesn't immediately take off. As a matter of fact, all it does is it literally puts all of the roots into the ground so it can suck up the nutrients. It can suck up like all the things that it needs to become this like really strong oak tree. But when the first time that you see some results is like a little bit of a sliver of like a green leaf that pops out, right? You don't realize all of the roots that have been put in place because of the work that has been put in day after day after day when nobody on the outside saw it, but you know what was going on inside. And then before you know it, that tree starts to sprout up and it's like this huge oak tree, and everybody wants to get to the oak tree and they forget that it starts with a seed and it starts with the roots growing underground. That's what I want you to really focus on when it comes to like growing in anything, whether it's growing in your business, losing weight, when it comes to connecting with your family. The inside changes first and then the outside changes. Like they say, it's be, do, have. I just taught some of my life coaches this process of be, do, have and how it like applies to our push method that we use inside of our life coach certification. But it's always you have to become something. Something changes in the inside. Something shifts on the inside. Then you'll start taking the actions of the person that would just normally do that. And then as a result, you get to have all of these amazing, incredible results because you're that type of person already. It's just something that happens naturally, all right? All right, so I'm taking a little bit too much time there. Let's go. Confidence. You want to tell them the difference between confidence and self-confidence?
Yeah, so confidence is basically just a feeling based on something that you've done before. So, Mark, we'll give the example of pouring milk. So, how confident are you to be able to pour a glass of milk? I'm sure all of us are confident in doing that.
Not the kids, though.
Not the kids.
Not the kids. And it's
You're
almond
right.
milk, by the way, guys. It's almond milk.
Yeah,
So confidence
no
so
dairy.
confidence lies in the past, right? So what's the difference between that and self-confidence?
So, self-confidence is being secure in yourself, any outside evidence. So, it doesn't matter that you've done it before or not. You're confident enough in yourself and your capacity and your abilities that you can do whatever it is that you set yourself up to do.
100%, because there's only two possible outcomes, right?
Yep, you succeed or you grow.
Yeah. I mean, so many times when people start something new and they lean into something they've never done before, they think there's a way that they can fail. And really the only way that you can fail, and I have people define what failure is like if you stop and you give up entirely, right? And I'm like, what part of that equation are you a part of? And they're like, well, I'm not. And I'm like, okay, well then doing it, taking those actions and knowing that you can either succeed or you can grow. And by the way, most of us, I know for me personally, for Teresa as well, we actually created a business because of all the growth that we've experienced, not because of our success, but because we had to grow through it. We struggled through it. I mean, did you see those pictures, right? We were not like the perfect leaders, right? And we were able to grow into that because we struggled, because we did things when we felt uncomfortable. And by doing that, we were able to generate that self-confidence that we needed to really, really show up. All right, so self-confidence 101. Do you want me to do this or do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so your self-confidence 101, it's your ability to trust yourself knowing that you will do what you said you would. There's this program called the 75 Hard. It's a powerful program where you do like 6 different activities every single day. You like do 2 workouts, 45 minutes. One has to be outside. You have to follow a nutrition plan. You cannot have any kind of like outside food. You have to take pictures of yourself every single day. You have to drink a gallon of water, and you have to do one more thing. You have to read 10 pages of a personal development book. So when you're doing those things and you set out and you say, you know what, I'm going to do these things, and then you show up and you do it, you actually start to gain more trust in yourself. So the reason why he put that program called 75 Hard, not that everybody has to do it, because when you say you're going to do hard things and you do it, you build up this mental toughness that gets you to know that like, hey, guess what? Even if I don't succeed, I'm not going to die. Like the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to learn and grow from it. And when you do this, you start to have this ability of trusting yourself. And later down the line, when things are even more bigger, you have more people watching, you're doing things in front of like huge stages or audiences or whatever it is that you want to do as a leader, you can now say, I've built up trust in myself because I do the things I said I was going to do. Every day that you have a decision to make on whether you're going to do the things you said you were going to do is a check mark in the box of voting on myself. Every day you do that, you add up those check boxes, and that is how you can build your confidence. Now, knowing that you can experience any emotion without being harmed is a key thing here. Now, I'm even talking, when I was talking to law enforcement officers, I was talking to them about this too, because here's the thing. Being a law enforcement officer, I had to put myself into situations where it could be dangerous. But the percentage of times that that was actually the case was very low. And even if when it was like for 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 minutes, and then it would be like a calming, we'd be able to take control of it and it wouldn't be so crazy, right? But knowing that trying something new, like the worst thing that can happen is you would feel something in your body, gives you that feeling of like, this is like no big deal. Like, what if I say something wrong? What if I like make a presentation and I say the wrong words? Or I do this, I make the wrong decision, right? And you second guess everything you do, so you don't do any of it, right? Well, if that's the case, then you're just too afraid of a feeling in your body, because if you do that, what's going to happen? Well, you might feel like disappointed. You might feel angry. You might be upset. You might be frustrated. But remember, it's just a feeling in your body. It's a vibration and it goes away. I'm not saying like self-confident people don't still feel this stuff. I feel it all the time. And people tell me all the time, man, how are you so confident? And it's because I know that just because I feel a certain way does not mean it's the right or wrong decision. As a matter of fact, when I feel uncomfortable, I usually know it's the right decision and it's time to take action, right? Because my brain is now pre-programmed to do that. But when you realize that it's only a feeling in your body that you're changing your entire life for, you're not giving yourself the permission to like step up and become the leader you want to be, and it's just merely because of a feeling in your body, it can reprogram that to go, okay, this is no big deal. This is just a feeling in my body. Like, what's going to happen if I give up presentation, if I raise my hand, if I take this action and I make a mistake? Like, what's really going to happen? Well, I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow, right? And that's how it's best that we all grow. Now, self-confidence comes from when you've never done it before, but you're confident in yourself anyway. Let me say that again. Self-confidence comes from when you've never done it before and you're confident doing it anyway. That's the power of self-confidence, all right? But you guys might be wondering, well, how do I do this? How do I do this? So how is self-confidence created? Let me put this up and then Teresa, you can do this one, all right?
Sure. So it comes from your subconscious mind. So these are the thoughts and beliefs that you have. It all starts with your thoughts, right? And we all have beliefs about ourselves because of our, past, the environment we grew up in, and everything like that. So it's about starting there with your subconscious mind.
Let's give some example thoughts of things that might be holding people back. You ready?
Yep. So one of the things that people just seem to misunderstand is that failure is weakness. That if you fail, that you're just not, you're not strong. Or I'm different than people who are successful. Like, for some reasons, people think that they're so special that they are different than other people who are actually successful. Or I don't know how, right? Because we jump into the how am I going to do this rather than, why should I do this? Why do I want to do it? And then I'll figure out the how. And other people's opinions define me. So this is really, really something that can hold people back. And those thoughts are just going to keep people stuck because, people are going to have opinions. So they're going to have opinions anyway. And then fear means I'm not confident. Absolutely not. That is not true, because people who do things, they do it with fear. They do it when they're scared. I've never done this before. It's kind of the same thing, that, you have to be able to have done it before to be confident enough to do it in the first place. So
For sure, guys. And these thoughts, so sometimes they're conscious. Most of the time they're unconscious, meaning like they're running in the background and you don't know they're running. So like, let's say, so my son, I was just having a conversation with him a few minutes ago. He has to give a presentation at school, right? And for him, that's like, it really freaks him out, right? And so he doesn't know why, but when his teacher says, hey, Andrew, it's time for you to make a presentation, it's time for you to stand up, all he experiences is the fear in his body. And whether he starts to shake, he gets sweaty palms, he does all those things. By the way, all those things is what I do too. He doesn't know that there's actually a thought that's in here that's actually making him feel that way in his body. And so our brain does this unconsciously. They think like 95% of what we do is unconscious, right? And so if you have resounding as a limiting belief, well, failure is weakness. I don't know how to do this. Like, what are people going to think when I get up there on stage? Or like, this must mean that I'm not good if I feel this feeling in my body, right? I've never done this presentation before. Like, what if I mess up? What if I make mistakes? It literally, you're focusing on all of those things that will prevent you from going out there and doing it, right? Because that's what we call in our life coach certification, the head voice. We're focusing on the head voice, and the head voice is there to keep us safe. Now, another one we missed. Confidence is something you either have or you don't have. Another critical one, all right? Now, why does this even matter? Now, before we help you, like actually lean into like how to reframe these, all right? I want to explain to you why even focusing on your confidence matters. You may think you know why, but I want to give you all of the reasons to lean in so that you can really develop this self-confidence, okay? Because when you feel more confident, you'll actually set more goals. How many goals do you think you're going to set if you're not confident in hitting goals or not confident in yourself or your abilities? If you're using your past to define your future, you're not going to be willing to set more goals and to go out and get after it. As a matter of fact, you're going to use your past to keep pushing the past into the future. All right. What's incredible is like we can make a decision at any moment that we can change what we've done all the way up till this day and make a different decision today and like change our trajectory of our whole life. That is how powerful we are. We get to make decisions. It's like one thing that we as humans get that no other animal or thing on the planet gets. But so many times we're trapped in the past that we use the past to define our future. But we can make an entirely different decision. It's what we did. It's what the decision that we said, nope, something is going to be different here. For us, it involved our family. And when it involves my kids, watch out. I'm going to do whatever it takes to change to become that new person, right? And so feeling more confident is going to help you set more goals. It's also going to help you take more action. I talked about this. I can't tell you the thousands of calls that I've gotten on coaching people. And the thing that prevents them from taking action is their confidence. They don't have any self-confidence, and they're looking into the past to see like, well, have I ever done this before? And sometimes that'll work, but what if it's something you've never done before? Well, then you're most likely never going to do it, right? Because your brain will try and trick you out of it. So if you can develop confidence, it will get you to take more action. You will talk to more people. You'll take more risks. It'll be one of those things where you're like, well, I don't know. This is a science experiment, right? Let me see what, throwing stuff on the wall. Let me see what kind of like works here and what doesn't, right? You're going to be able to achieve more because if you set more goals, obviously you're going to be able to have more, right? And then you're going to be able to believe beyond your current capabilities. Think about this for a second, guys. What you believe to be true right now, what if there was a different belief that got you to show up on an entirely different level? That allowed you to like literally take your leadership, take your impact, take your financial goals, take your relationship goals to the next level. The truth is, there is. And if you can lean in and you can find your version of that story, your version of that thought or that belief, you can literally go there and stay there and then just rinse and repeat over and over and over again. And then you can start living into your future. Because I don't want to keep living into my past. I mean, my past is awesome. I learned so much from it. I screwed up for so much, but I also want to create a new future that's different than my past, right? And that's what you can do when you have confidence, all right? So increasing your self-confidence comes from changing the stories that you have about yourself. Those ones that Teresa said, those are usually the pre-programmed stories. Now, everybody's brain works a little different. We've all had our own emotional experiences and past consistent actions like that have happened over and over and over again that have kind of like steered our brain into one direction or the other when it comes to confidence, all right? So maybe like you had a teacher who told you that you're just not good at leading, or maybe you had somebody who told you like, hey, yeah, you suck at taking tests, like you're just not smart. Well, that over time now puts this seed of belief in your brain that you're not smart enough, or you're not good enough, or you're not a good leader. Sometimes it's our parents and they do it on accident. I don't want anybody to like shame or hate their parents, right? They don't know any different, right? But they literally plant these seeds and those seeds start to grow. And then before we know it, we really believe them. And we use those to literally prevent us from seeing success because we lack the confidence, the self-confidence, because we've never done that before, right? And because people have said this over and over and over again. So how we do that is we really help you to find the stories that will help you generate the self-confidence. Now, we kind of talked about this part before. Like the job of the brain, it's two primary jobs, all right? Number one is to keep you safe, meaning that your brain is there to kind of talk you out of doing things that you might be putting yourself in danger with. The problem with that is that we haven't evolved out of like caveman days because it takes a while for evolution to happen. That's actually what we're doing right now is we're trying to evolve so that we can actually realize that we're not in danger 99% of the time. But what happens is when we get up on stage, when we're about to have that conversation, we're about to invite somebody to our program, our brain's like, nope, you've never done this before. We don't know what's going to happen if you ask that, if you speak this, if you say this, if you take on this role, you don't know what's going to happen. And what it does is it triggers us into thinking that we're fearful, we're lacking confidence, that we shouldn't take that step because we don't know what to do. It like literally will throw everything. Your brain is super smart, guys. It'll throw everything it can to get you to not take action. That's its job. You know, you got to think it. It's kept you alive this long, right? But at the same time, if we go outside, we're not going to be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. And if we get thrown out of our group, we're not going to be able to hunt and gather, right? That's like back in the day. That doesn't happen anymore, right? So realizing that that's what your brain was created for, the first reason, it just gives you that freedom to go, you know what? I know what you're trying to do there, brain. And by the way, it says Brian right here. The job of your Brian. Okay,
Well,
so
I don't see the thing.
Oh, you don't? Okay,
No.
yeah, it says the job of your Brian. So, so
Oh,
there we go.
my slides didn't advance.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Okay, so when it comes to this, know that your brain is there to literally keep you safe. It's supposed to say, okay, brain, I know what's going on here, and I can take a different direction, all right? The second purpose of your brain is to make life easier. It likes to be able to take tasks and automate it, right? That's why we say 95% of our thoughts are subconscious, right? Well, so of like your actions, like if we think about what it takes to like brush our teeth or to walk or to chew gum, like literally if you were to brush teeth, you'd have to grab the toothpaste, you'd have to move your hand over a little bit, you'd have to open up the container, then you'd have to put it into your mouth, you'd have to go up and down and left and right and up and down, and then you literally would be like not able to function other than thinking about, you know, brushing your teeth. This is the same reason why when you get into your car, you'll like blink and you'll be at work and you're like, I have no idea how I got here. I hope I didn't run any stop signs, right? It's because they automate things. But what happens is when your brain tries to keep you safe and it automate things, it literally is preventing you from taking those actions because it's just going to keep trying to automate that stuff to get you off track. It's going to try and keep you safe and to automate those things, which are going to prevent you from going out there, from getting after it, from setting big goals, from leading, from stepping up, from doing all of those things that you truly want to do. And that's really the way that it works. So the real truth is fear doesn't prevent self-confidence. It's the unwillingness to feel it that does. I'm going to say that again because it's so powerful. Fear does not prevent self-confidence. It's the unwillingness to feel it that does. Guys, when I talk to I have a lot of incredible leaders as coaches that I help, not only when it comes to their business, but when it comes to their personal life, when it comes to their health. And what I have to say is like in the moment when you feel fear, that is generally like evidence that this is your best opportunity ever to be a leader. When somebody needs to be corrected, when somebody needs to like step up for, to protect somebody or something, right? When somebody needs to be reached out to because you have hope for them, you have an opportunity for them to do something different with their life. You're going to have this fear in your body. You have to be willing to feel it and do it anyway. Because you know why? That's what leaders do. It gives you the greatest opportunity. If you didn't have this feeling of fear, you wouldn't be able to create those amazing opportunities so you can be recognized as the leader that you truly can be. So instead of thinking of fear as something that means that you don't have self-confidence, it's actually the greatest catalyst for it. It means it's time to lean in, do it anyway, because now as you continue to develop it, you continue to take these actions, you're putting the checkbox saying, yep, I trust myself, I trust myself. And as you grow, as you get bigger, as you get on bigger stages, as your business gets bigger, as you climb up the food chain, if you're a police officer, whatever it is, you're literally going to be able to continue to develop yourself. And then of course, teach this to anybody else, all right? So we don't need to be afraid of humiliation, rejection, or embarrassment, which is a lot of the reasons why we start to get this thought of like, what are other people going to think? What if I make a mistake? What if I mess up? Like all of those kind of things. Like nobody's even going to remember. They're too busy worried about themselves than they are going to be worried about you, okay? So how can we take control of self-confidence? Can you see it now, Teresa?
I can't.
Okay, so we find a new story. I'm gonna call out to some of these different stories, and I want you to take a screenshot of this image, okay? And when you have, or as you're going through this, there's going to be some that really pull on you in terms of, I love that story. That is a story, a thought that I need to think of on repeat. You need to grab that and use that for you when you feel uncomfortable and you feel that fear kind of like coming up, all right? Because everybody's brain and thoughts and feelings and all your personal experiences that you've had is going to be different. So everybody like really connects with a different kind of story, a different kind of, we call it affirmation, where if you lean into it, it will really help you out a lot. But there's not like a one size fit all thing. You got to find the thing that resonates most with you, okay? Here's a couple. Failure earns success. The better I fail, the more confident I am. Worry only pretends to be necessary. People need me right now. So what? Like, this is no big deal. What I make this mean is the worst thing that can happen. What others think of me is 100% about them. I was made for this. Fear is no big deal. I am more than capable. The worst thing that could happen is a feeling. I have my own back. And my potential is limitless. So I'm going to leave this up right now so you guys can take a screenshot of it, like highlight it, 45 different colors, write down the 1 or 2 or 3 that like really connect with you. And these are going to be your stories. They're going to be your beliefs that you want to bring up over and over and over again. Now, we use these as affirmations. So for the ones that we really connect with our clients, we tell them to actually write an affirmation out to really make sure that they solidify this in their brain before they do those activities that they truly want to do. So if you're like, oh, you know what, like I get really nervous when I speak in front of people, and you're like, you know what, this one for me, people need me right now. That's my go-to. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be nervous. I know I am, right? I'm speaking in front of thousands of people. Okay. Somebody out here in the audience needs me right now. They need me to be on their A game. They don't think it's possible for them to see success. They don't think it's possible for them to lead themselves, for them to lead their business, for them to lead in their career, and most importantly, for them to lead their family. I am that hope for them today. I am willing to feel the fear and do it anyway because I know that that person needs me on my A game. And so I just step into it and I'm going to feel the fear and I'm going to do it anyway because that's what leaders do. And then I step into that and I go do it. It totally transforms the feeling in my body. No longer is it run by like, well, what if you make a mistake? Well, what if you say something wrong? Well, you didn't practice enough, blah, blah, blah. Like all of these things are not helpful in any way, even if, oh, it's a big hair. Even if like they're absolutely true. If you're like, oh my God, I just totally believe them. They're a truth. Even if you say that in your brain, it will literally have no help for you. Instead, focusing on the story that gets you to show up will get you to show up on your A game. Now, will you make mistakes? Hell yeah, you'll make mistakes. I make mistakes all the freaking time, but you'll learn from them. You'll grow from them. And the next time you're going to be like, you know what? This is what I did last time. I'm doing something else entirely different. This is what it's about. It's one freaking big science experiment. And the more that we lean into these stories, the more that we go out there and take action, no matter how we feel, the more we get to show up on the other end and the more of a game changer that this will be. Teresa, you got anything to add to that?
No, I mean, well, yes, I guess.
No, but let me tell you something right now.
I do that often, right?
Me too.
That often. Yeah, it's this, we talked about how it starts with your thoughts and your beliefs. And like, this is so important to like really, nail this down and make sure that you're choosing a new story that is going to fuel you to, to be able to move past your fears. And, affirmations are so critical when it comes to this because like Mark said, it's about repetition. If you keep repeating this story, even if at the beginning you don't believe that it's true because you won't, after a while you will believe it and it will be just part of you and how you feel about yourself.
I love that. It kind of like brought up a few different ideas for me as well. So guys, I want to let you know that what we taught you today, like most people don't understand yet. Okay. I don't want you to use the facts that maybe you have those first set of stories that just come up automatically. That is because you have a human brain and it takes a while to transform them into the new stories. I mean, that's literally why people have life coaches, is because they want help to transform those old stories into new ones. Now, what we're talking about today is just the confidence piece, but this happens in multiple different other areas. There's a bunch of other stories that prevent us from having a better relationship, a bunch of other stories that prevent us from getting out there and having an incredible business, or sending those messages to people, or like really fulfilling and helping people achieve their goals, right? And that's the purpose of like having a life coach, because this is a consistent thing that you have to do over and over and over again. And I mean, I literally wrote the book on how to self-coach, right? And a lot of what we talked about today is actually in this book. And I'll definitely leave the link in the show notes for you guys if you want to download this or get this book. But in reality, like even though I wrote that book, I still need a coach so that they can help me see when I have those head voices, and they can help transform them into heart voices, because they're still going to come up. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing that you're not, it's not that you're like programmed differently or anything. No, it's just, this is the way that society, this is the way that everybody like gets programmed in the beginning. It's also the way we're programming our kids, which is why I'm like being super intentional with like some of the things that I bring up, but I'm still going to do things that the kids that are not going to benefit for the kids. We're all human. We make mistakes. This is what it is. But when we have this knowledge, now we can use it to like do something different, not to beat ourselves up, not to say that it's not possible for us, not to say like, well, people like screwed me up because of X, Y, and Z. No. This is a part of the human experience. You're where you're at right now. You got to take ownership of where you are and figure out what that next step is. One of the things that I do hear a lot of, and I think Trisha actually brought it up, is like when you're confident in one area, but you're not fully confident in another. This is something I was actually coaching somebody else on 2 days ago, where they have full confidence in this one area. And I want to know, why do you have full confidence in this area? And they started talking about like, oh, well, I've been doing this for a while. Like I know what to do. I just stepped up and take this action. And I'm like, well, at some point you had to do that when you didn't have that level of confidence. What was it that helped you to do that? So what we can do is we can actually examine the specific area that we're like really confident in and ask ourselves, how did we gain that confidence? What were some things that we did? I guarantee you're going to go back and you're going to see like, oh my God, I felt uncomfortable and I did it anyway. Oh my God, I just took on things. I just decided that this is going to be my thing, right? And when we realize that we could do that in that area and then now feel fully confident, we can move that confidence over here into this area. And this is like how we can really like lean into self-confidence, because self-confidence is blanket. It means I'm self-confident in everything, not just confident in this one thing, not just confident in this, right? But it's self-confident in all of it. And it just really is a true game changer. All right, let's go. Doing things that scare you give you the greatest opportunity to increase your self-confidence. So what is something that is scaring the crap out of you that you can do today that will give you the greatest opportunity to develop and increase your self-confidence? Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, we hit this up earlier. Now, after listening to this, what level of self-confidence do you have? Did it go up? Did it go down? You learned a lot? Like now you are empowered to have these stories, to take control of the ship, put your hands on the steering wheel, right? Maybe it's gone up, maybe it's gone down, but I really want you to check in, because your level of self-confidence is so vital and so important, all right? Now, questions to ask yourself. No matter where you ranked yourself, how might you move closer to a 10 this week? What area of your life will you benefit the most from having more self-confidence? Number 3 is, how will others benefit from your self-confidence? Now, if you're a push coach, you know what I just did here. I literally pulled out your heart voice, right? I asked you, how can you get closer to a 10? What are the benefits of this? Who else is going to be able to benefit from you having more confidence, right? Really connecting it to your purpose, to your potential, to hope, to abundance, to like, everything, the faith, everything that like could be possible for the future is going to help you go out there and create that level of confidence. Now, a part of what just happened here is my confidence was transferred to you. I want you to think about this for a second, all right? Some of you guys start off with this level, whatever level you were, and some of you guys moved up to another level. And literally by just being a part of this presentation, by me feeling uncomfortable and doing it anyway. Because like I told you, I've never done this on YouTube like this. Like I'm looking at it right now, it doesn't really look the best, but it's way better than if I had just convinced myself not to do this, right? We're having problems with the microphones and audio app before this too. And I'm like, this is a part of the game. This is a part of it because somebody out there needs me to be on my A game. This is living proof that you also get to transfer that confidence, that self-confidence to other people as well. Sometimes we don't believe in ourselves enough in that specific moment, so we need somebody else to ride on their coattails. For me, that was Josh, and I'm still riding to this day because he believes in me even more than I believe in myself. But it now offers me the ability of me giving other people my coattails, which is exactly why I started this YouTube channel, because I want people to grab onto my coattails so I can pass on what Josh has passed on to me. Now, here's a real quick recap. Confidence versus self-confidence. Remember, confidence comes from the past. Self-confidence does not come from the past. It comes from a full belief in yourself, despite any outside evidence on the outside that it's possible. It's having that full level of self-confidence. Remember, your job of your brain is to keep you safe. It's meant to do that. It's supposed to do that. When it does that, you just say, ha, brain, I see what you're trying to do here. I'm going to take a little bit of a different direction, all right? But it's still going to keep trying to get you to do that. It's what it's created to do. This is the evolution process where when you evolve out of that and you start to feel the fear and you go, oh, this means that it's exactly what I need to do. It's going to be a game changer for you, but also you're going to be modeling the behavior for your kids, for your family, for the team that you lead, all right? And then fear doesn't prevent self-confidence. It's the unwillingness to feel it that does. How we do that is we find a new story to focus on and we be willing to feel the fear and do it anyway. I love to end an affirmation always like that. It's like, because like this is important to me and because I want to make the impact that I truly want to make in the world, I want to help people who are struggling with burnout, with overwhelm. I want to help parents so they can see that they can excel personally and professionally without sacrificing their family time or burning themselves out. I am willing to feel uncomfortable and do it anyway. I'm going to feel the fear and take action. When I program that, when I read it and I read it every single morning, it gets me to go, it's game time. It's not time for me to mess around. It's time for me to get into taking action. I can't tell you the number of hours that has saved me as opposed to just thinking about it, perfecting it in my brain, and then finally at some point trying to do it like 3 months down the road. Instead, I take the action right now, and I know there's only two possible outcomes. Either I learn, which I grow, or I do it right the first time. And it's always the times that I've grown that have made the most impact in my life, all right? All right, now I always say this. You don't get better by consuming. You get better by acting. So take the information that you've learned here and go out and take action. Now you're going to see at the bottom of this, there's like a leadership blueprint. I put together a four-part video series in terms of like how to create massive influence as a leader. Influence is like when you can use your skills, your tactics, your strategies, your mindset to help effectively like get other people to take action that is in congruence with what they truly want. I put together a very quick 4-part video series. If you have not gotten a hold of that, it is 100% something you should do. We talked about the mindset today around developing self-confidence. We really didn't talk about the tactics. The tactics are what you're going to get inside of this free training, all right? It's at mindsetwithmark.com/leader. My name is Mark with a C, mindsetwithmark.com/leader. It's a 4-part video series. Dive in, watch them, implement them. They are so powerful. It's something that Josh taught me initially related to business, and I've taken that and I've made some adjustments to it to put it into any specific situation. It could be into family. It could be into your work. It can be into your business. It could be into influencing yourself. When you really have a system like that, it is a total game changer. All right, Teresa, I'm sorry I talked too much. I know that the slides kind of like caught up. Anything else that you want to add or anything that I missed?
No. I was going to say no. So here are the 5 points that I want to talk about. No,
All right.
I think we're good.
All right, let me stop sharing it. All right, guys, I appreciate you for being here, for watching this training, for watching all the other different trainings. If you haven't hit up any of the other workshops that we did, Teresa and I have hit like 6 or 7 or 8, no, actually like 8 or 9 different workshops, focus on different things around leadership, leading yourself, leading your family, leading in business, leading in your career. If you go to our YouTube channel, to like our home base, you click on the lives, you'll be able to see all of the past recorded videos. We appreciate you so much. We will see you again, 9 a.m. Pacific time next week, which is 11 a.m. Central. We appreciate you. Keep leading from the front. And yeah, develop that confidence, guys. Remember, it's not the times when they're easy that we develop the most self-confidence. It's the times that are hard. It's when we feel it. It's when we feel that lack of confidence, when we feel the fear, but we do it anyway. Go out there, generate that self-confidence. And we appreciate you for what you are doing as a leader. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.